Greetings, my fellow gamers, it is I, Wraith King, and today we are finally reviewing one of the greatest warlords of all time, and also one of the first warlords. He has finally been awakened, but there's something a little unusual about him that you'll probably notice as soon as I show him to you, Ace. But we'll talk a little more about the unusual thing about what has been changed with him a little later. But right now, we are going to take a look at his passive ability. What this does is it gives him a Void Shield, first of all, for 7 hits, and he reduces the recovery rate of the entire enemy team by 80%. Now, this is the crazy part, though. When he dies, he increases the physical and magical attack of all allies by 250% 5 times. This ability is going to make it really hard for Chris and Karen users in the arena, so this is definitely a really good passive. And as for the effect after he dies, I have to admit that's actually a really interesting touch, but that's not the weirdest part about him. But let's take a look at his first active ability, shall we? Now what this does is it inflicts 150% physical damage on one enemy 3 times. Now this is the interesting part. He also inflicts an additional 300% physical damage to all the enemies in the same row as the target. So that's a very interesting skill. I'll demonstrate what exactly this does in adventure mode. Now Ace used to be really good in arena and in Castle Rush and raid. Now he seems to be a little more focused on arena, more than the other modes, but that's okay. I really like the changes with them. Okay, now what this does is it's kind of a huge enhancement of his original AoE attack. This targets all enemies with double 100% physical damage, additionally inflicts bleed with 100% physical damage for 5 times, and reduces the enemy's buff duration for 3 turns. That's a really cool addition. It's a really great upgrade of his original AoE attack. But what people really want to know about right now is his awakening skill. So okay, without further ado, let's take a look at it. This targets all enemies with double 150% physical damage, additionally penetrates and removes all active buffs. That's it? I mean, I really was expecting a lot more out of Ace's awakening skill. Since he's been on the game for so long, I was expecting his awakening skill to be something very special. But you know what? That's okay. Maybe his animations will make up for it. Okay, it doesn't seem like there's much news there. Nice. That looks the same. How about this? Yep, the same. Now let's take a good look at his awakening skill. Okay, man, that was kind of cool. Man, what did he do? He transformed into a Super Saiyan and just went crazy with his sword. Man, that was sweet. But you know, a lot has changed with him. Not too much with his character model though. But there is something I was going to point out at the end, is he was swapped to a fighter. He was originally a universal character and he was swapped to a fighter. Now, that's very unusual. I haven't really seen Seven Knights do something quite like that before. So that kind of just tells you that they are going to be just weird with their updates. They're going to be completely different with all of their updates. Switching, I mean, it was okay because I noticed some of the characters on the global version were swapped to, maybe they were universal and then they were swapped to a fighter. That I know, because that's a kind of completely a different game, so I can understand that. But here it was kind of weird to notice that they switched, what exactly the hero was. They switched from universal to a fighter, but it kind of makes sense. Ace kind of fought, kind of like he was a fighter, so I guess it would only make sense that they would switch him like that. Alright, we're going to take a good look at what exactly his new effects are and what exactly they can actually do to the enemy team. And as you can see, the recovery rate is already reduced, which is great. It's really, really interesting that he has that touch. I mean, before, you had to use his AoE attack to actually get that effect off. The reduced recovery rate, excuse me. But yeah, it's a really, really good touch. It's a really interesting touch that's just on his character. But before, he did have a weakness buff on him instead of reducing recovery rate. His weakness buff is he just reduced the defense, I believe. He reduced the defense of the enemy team, so he was really, really good raid character. Really great raid character. And he was great in Castle Rush too, so he was really great there. But now, he seems to be a little more useful in Arena. As a fighter, that's what most fighters really, really shine in, is in Arena. And sometimes they can do decently in Adventure and in Tower as well. But they shine the most in Arena because of their AoE attacks and their weakness increasing and attack increasing and all that kind of stuff. That's where fighters shine the most. And I guess when they switched them like that, that's probably what they were looking for people to do. But that's something I kind of like about not the global version. Ugh, definitely not the global version. The Korean version of Seven Knights is that they make these characters kind of universal to you. Like, I know he's a fighter. I'm not trying to say he's a universal character. I'm trying to say they make them to where they're more universal to you. So you can use them anywhere. There's no strings attached. It's not like, oh, his special ability that is applied to his awakening skill that allows him to do double damage to raid bosses. No, that's not here. In the Korean version, you can use every character anywhere, however you want. It's completely up to you. So, I really like that about the Korean version. How they make each character unique, but they are very good in different places. Don't get me wrong. There might be characters that are really great in Arena, but they might not be strong in Castle Rush or Daily Dungeons and things like that, but they're really good in Arena. And then there are characters that are good in Castle Rush and good in Daily Dungeons and stuff like that, but you can still use them and all of their passives work everywhere. It's not just they have a special unique passive that only works in Arena or only works in Daily Dungeon or Castle Rush or anything like that. No, all of their special effects are applied everywhere. It's not just one place. They're good no matter where you put them. It just depends on how you use them. That's where the Korean version greatly succeeds the global version. And once the global version knows that that's where this game shines, it's the fact that each character is great. It's just solid great. No matter where you bring them, they're going to be good depending on how you use them. Like, I can bring Seg to Tower, and he can be good, but it depends on how I use him. He's not normally good for a Tower at all. No, he's not. But if I use him the right way, he can be. And that's what makes the Korean version really, really good. And I was really, really hoping that the global version could show that a little more and make their characters not so unique to one place, but unique everywhere. It just depends on how you use them. So that is something I'm really, really pleased about with Ace here, is he's not focused on one place. I don't know why they're giving me tutorials. I already completed all those tutorials. I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe it's just some bug in the update, because I already unlocked all those places. I'm level 30, as you can see. But yeah, anyways, I really like Ace. He's really, really cool. But it was a really interesting change to see them switch him to a fighter, because that makes him a little more useful for what people use him for in the first place. And people really like to use Ace in Arena. Although he was great in Raid and he's great in Castle Rush, people used him a lot in Arena. He was really, really huge in Arena when he was released. But now that they updated the game and gave him an awakened form, he is really great in Arena. Like, he's really, really good there. But you can still use him in those other places, and he's still going to be pretty good in Castle Rush. Not as good as he used to be, because he did have that defense decreasing thing for the enemy team, but he doesn't have that anymore. But he does decrease recovery rate, which is really, really good, and that bleed is pretty good. But he's a little more focused for Arena. He's definitely a little more focused on Arena from what I can see. But he's a really, really great addition to the game, and I'm glad I got to take a good look at it. And I'm probably going to try to get him. I think I still have my Ace from a while ago. I'm pretty sure I do. I don't think I would have gotten rid of him. I think he's on my hero list somewhere. I gotta look for him. But anyways, that's all the time I have left for this review, my fellow gamers. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be taking a look at all the characters that will be released on the Korean version, global version, and I will be keeping you entertained here on the channel, so don't worry if the game gets quiet and there aren't any updates. I will entertain you guys with other really great games that I find all the time. So please do stay tuned for those. But anyways, that's all the time I got. Take it easy for me, alright? Bye.